Okay, so if we're going to do a cooking with Chelsea, then this is how it's going to be. I'm peeling a carrot in my sink so I can clean out the peelings. And I'd asked my husband what he wants for breakfast, and he said soup for some reason. So I'm making vegetable soup because that's what we have in kind of a clean out the fridge vegetable soup. So far I have onions and celery in there. My celery was getting flimsy. I better turn this down because I want my carrots and stuff to cook too. So I have onions and celery in there. I am cutting these carrots. I'm going to quarter them because they are big buddies. We're just going to chop them up and see what else we can find in the fridge. I know I have squash, broccoli, green beans, a soup like this could have as much or as little as you want in it. I always do my harder vegetables first so that they can saute and get softened. And no need to be super precise. Chop can make you feel like a real chef. Those in here. Get some of my other vegetables out of the fridge. Okay, these are the squash from my friend's garden, so we'll give that a little rinse. I don't even care that haven't rinsed my cutting board because it's all the stuff from in there anyway. And green beans. I'm going to put the green beans in a colander, give them a little rinse, cut the tips off. Give this a stir. I do want to do my green beans next, I think. They'll need a little bit of time to cook. I kind of line up the tips, line up the other tips, and then I will make sure they're nice mid-sized pieces. Don't want them too big when you're having a bite full of soup. know this seems maybe in general an odd type of breakfast. But does it really matter when we eat the food that's good for us, whether we eat it for breakfast or lunch or supper? Maybe we'll have something like breakfast for supper tonight. Who knows what our day is going to hold. I might put some kind of beans in here. I don't have any beans pre-cooked, but I might have a can of beans that would be good in here. And by good, I mean I wouldn't put pinto beans in a soup like this. I don't know why. I would put kidney beans, maybe like a white bean, really whatever you'd want. I think of minestrone, kind of like I'm kind of making a minestrone type soup. Literally just doing this out of my head, making whatever I have. Done with the green beans. Yeah, I'll do some more. Don't want those tips. Oh, I didn't turn around and cut the tips off the other side. That's okay. No problem. Okay, I'll get these in there so they can start cooking. Finish doing the rest. I'm going to put the squash in there. I'm going to, oh, that was bad. Put some diced tomatoes in there. We've got lots of tomatoes, lots of tomatoes. They're yellow. They're called Carolina Gold. So I'm just lining up all the tips so I can cut them off. Go over here, use my knife to kind of get them in line, cut them off. Cut these up. Anyway, the tomatoes are Carolina Gold. They're the tomatoes in our garden that are doing the best. They're very pretty yellow, and when they're really ripe, they're more orange. We've got some really ripe ones, so we'll use those. Malachi, would you go get me some really ripe tomatoes? Like 4 or 5. Just the really orange ones. So, seriously, I do tend to call a soup like this clean out the fridge soup because I kind of put in it whatever vegetables I need to use up. And it just always turns into a really good vegetable soup. Thank you. You can set it right in that sink there. Okay, we've got our green beans. Got all the green beans in there. And let me wash the tomato. Well, yeah, I'll do the squash next. So I just keep a okay, I keep a bowl on my counter, you know, a bowl or a plate or whatever I can find, Tupperware, for all my scraps. And then we take them outside. I don't have any animal that eats them right now. My daughter has some bunnies. They eat a few of the things. But we just don't put them in our garbage. And I just cut my vegetables according to the kind of the size I want. So like this, I cut the whole squash in half, and then I cut it in half again, and then in like thirds, and then I'll be slicing it this way. And depending on how long I let this cook, this vegetables like this squash sometimes kind of melt almost, and then they get really soft. I'm not going to be putting them in quite yet, but I am just prepping them. And in this same bowl, half. I tend to do things half and then half, or in this case, thirds. I want to go thirds here, so you can have to eyeball that. Anything else we can think of that we want to put in here? Oh, we're going to do 2 of these, so I'll go ahead and cut the tip off this. Ooh, this one, the skin feels harder on this one. It might be, but it's still fine. Make sure it'll soften up. That one looks funny. Maybe I won't use that one. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put water in here so it can be getting hot and boiled. Looking for a jar to fill up. Alright, I probably won't add quite all of this. It was 2 quarts. We'll wait till we have all the other vegetables, everything else we want in there. That way it doesn't get too soupy. Okay, let me turn that back up to high so that water comes to a boil. I'm gonna add basil. Probably a teaspoon of basil. That way it doesn't. This is a nice strong basil I have. I know my family likes herbs. Sometimes in an Italian blend, the oregano can really stand out. So I don't want to put too much Italian blend in. We'll do half a teaspoon. People can always add more, add their own. Vegetable stock or vegetable broth would be good here. I'm just working with my plain salt. This is the Himalayan pink salt. I never measure stuff like this, so that's probably a teaspoon of salt. Might put a little bit of soy sauce in here. I know that might sound a little bit funny for this, but it'll be good. And I am doing like 5 tomatoes, so I would sometimes put like a tomato sauce in here, and I could, but I have so many tomatoes, I might as well just dice tomatoes up and let them get saucy. So I'm gonna do that for now. Wash my tomatoes. You know, I might actually want to peel these tomatoes. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to core them first. I'm going to stick them in here because this water is getting hot. The hot will help the skin come off. So you'll see in just a sec. So that's on high. By the time I get these cored, so I'm going to core the tomatoes. And then I'm going to cut just a little X on the top here. I think that helps the skin to kind of come off. So core the tomatoes. I don't usually like holding that in my hand. I always feel like if I slip and go all the way through, that is a really pointy knife. This has kind of, it's kind of dry and ugly, but it's nothing bad. It's nothing dirty. I will probably kind of cut it off. It's just some stretch marks that healed over. So we'll see what it looks like after we take the skin off. Okay, so I think what I'll do is I'm just going to set them in here, right in this hot water. If it was boiling, it'd be even better. But that's going to soften the outside, kind of like when you're blanching peaches to take the skin off. Or so we're just going to kind of let that, we'll see what that looks like in a little bit, and take it out with tongs while I clean up a little bit of this. I do want another squash, so I'm going to get one more. Give it a rinse. Clean up my area here a little bit. The reason a soup like this doesn't have any amounts, and certainly I could come up with one. I have a really good vegetable soup recipe that I might just post or share, is because really soup like this, like I said before, you just kind of put whatever you want in it. If you have like a V8 type juice, I think the recipe I might share has, you know, V8 or tomato juice as some of the liquid. I just don't want to open a can because I have so many tomatoes. I would feel funny, even if I'm not going to put the juice in it, I would feel funny opening a can of tomato sauce when I have so many tomatoes. But all the sauce I've made recently is frozen. So anyway, let's see what these tomatoes are looking like. So I will get tongs. And it doesn't matter if they like overcook, right? Because I mean, I'm just gonna chop them up and put them back in there. So we're gonna just let them keep going. So we'll come back in a little bit and see what the next steps are. So we have a couple things going on now. This got to a boil because I put the lid on. Ooh, hot. I have water coming to a boil here because we're gonna cook some couscous to kind of be the noodle. I guess we're gonna make a minestrone. But I wanted to show you what these tomatoes are doing now. So, ooh, they're hot. Okay, see how that's opened up? We're gonna go ahead and put it on the plate here. Oh, that peel already peeled off. So I'm gonna put it on the plate because it's hot. There's no way I'm gonna be able to touch it to peel it. The peels are coming off just by holding them. Okay, there's 4 of them in here. Whew, hot. Okay, you wouldn't want to splatter yourself. So I'm just gonna get them out. So now you can see that peel is gonna come right off. I'm gonna roughly dice these just on the plate here because they're hot, and then I'll put them back in here. So I can turn this boil. I guess I'll put my squash in because this is gonna cook pretty quick. Put the squash in. That's gonna calm that boil down a little bit. Okay, and then I don't know if you can see all the way over here very well, but I am going to, like I said, peel the tomatoes. I need two grabbers. Get that peel off. Oh, and see, I was right. That ugly skin came right off. That was the one that had that kind of ugly skin on it. So the reason I'm taking the peel off is because when you put fresh tomatoes in something like this, unless they're like blended well or something, that skin gets really oof, that was splattered. That skin gets really leathery, and you can kind of get these pieces that you pull out of your mouth, and it's just not very desirable. So I'm pulling this off. Something else I decided to do, I know I had these in the fridge and I went ahead and decided to do it, is I had some tomatoes that I had roasted last week, because again, we have so many tomatoes right now. I'm just checking to make sure I get most of the skin off. That I had roasted last week with a little bit of salt and coconut oil, and then just put them in the fridge because I didn't have time to do anything with them. So I think I'm gonna take some of those and blend them up, and I am gonna make kind of a tomato sauce. Because if I'm making kind of a minestrone, I do want it to be a little bit more tomatoey than not. So what I'm gonna do now with these tomatoes is I'm just gonna use this plate here that they're already on, all the juices are on it, and do a rough dice. They're mostly going to disintegrate, if you will, in the boiling soup. So I'm not too worried about getting them like perfectly the size that I would want them. Yeah, they're already kind of just might try and cut out. Oh, see, there's still skin on that one. Didn't get that skin off. Once this water right beside me is boiling, we'll put in a little bit of couscous. I think couscous is just kind of a little ball of, I would say, pasta. It's not like a whole grain. It's nothing like that's super healthy or anything. It's a certain way. I mean, it's not unhealthy, but it is a noodle, a pasta. So what I found is I'm cutting these in half, kind of like I would a fresh tomato, and then giving them It's a sloppy mess. I think it's going to be really good. Okay, one more tomato. One more tomato to go. This was kind of a lot of work, but just not a lot of work. I shouldn't say a lot of work, but kind of like, if you just had one for simplicity or ease, just get a can of diced tomatoes or get a can of tomato sauce or stewed tomatoes. So then I'm going to go ahead and just put this into the soup. Boy, it's really juicy. Okay. So that was all those tomatoes. Yep, that's gonna be good. This is getting to a boil. Let me get the couscous. So I don't have a container to show you what couscous looks like because I had bought it in bulk. I just have it in a container. But the ones I have are these little beads. And they're just little beads. I don't know how to say it more than that. So why don't we just do a cup? We don't want a lot of noodles. We don't want this to be like a noodle soup. Well, let's just do a cup of these and they'll disperse. Let's do another cup and a half. We don't have to put them all in. And now let's work on the tomato sauce that I said I wanted to go ahead and blend up. So I'm gonna go ahead and stir that or those might stick to the bottom. Okay. Okay, so this is the tomato sauce. I'm gonna get a little ladle. Where's the ladle I want? This will work good. This is starchy, so that this could kind of boil up, boil over. So I'm gonna just do it in my little NutriBullet because I'm not gonna do like a lot. See, these have been roasted. You can see the darkness on them. And then these chunks of white are the coconut oil that solidified on the top when I put it in the fridge. So let me just put some of these in here. This is gonna turn out to be our tomato sauce. Oopsie. Now these, oh, see, we're gonna boil over here if I'm not careful. I'll just turn the heat down now that it's boiling. Turn the heat way down. It should simmer. Now these do have the skins on, but because I knew I was going to blend them, to me it doesn't matter because they'll get blended up and I will show you what they look like. So let me just, I like to wipe the edge of this so that it keeps my little machine over there as clean as possible. Then put the, and we'll see, we might want more of this. Turn it upside down, the blade is in there now. And then put it over here. So I added a little bit of salt to this. It's always nice to salt your noodles. You've heard that. My NutriBullet blends for 1 minute when I just let it go. And so I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the soup, and the couscous is almost done. Okay, let's see what this looks like. This actually looks really nice. Thick, I want it thick like that because it's gonna going into this sauce. I think if I love my Vitamix. I use that all the time, but I have a home kitchen and I have the space for it. If I didn't have space, if I was on the go or lived in a smaller space, or maybe if I didn't have a family, I would do a NutriBullet. It might not get things quite as smooth, but you can usually get the desired effect you know, if you do things a little differently. So that's gonna simmer like that a little bit. Let me just taste this couscous, see if it's done. See how quick that is. See how quick that is. I don't think it is quite done. Nope, a little bit hard. A little bit hard still, but ooh, nice and salty like the sea. It's good. It's nice to sometimes flavor components of what you're making. That way there's flavor throughout. All right, so we're just gonna finish that up, let this simmer. What I will do is rinse these in cold water, just like sometimes with certain other noodles, because then they won't just keep cooking and absorbing once we put them in here. So just a little tip on pasta when you're putting pasta in something like soup or something that's hot. So, all right, we'll come back when this is all done. I don't think I'm gonna be adding any more. Okay, so this I believe is pretty much done. I do want to put just a can of beans in. It's probably barely a token for the amount of soup that's here, but I don't think my family really cares for kidney beans. And then I have this. I already drained it, rinsed it with cold water, and I'm not sure I want to put all of it in, even though it's not a lot. I don't want it to become a noodle soup, just to kind of have, you know, kind of have the couscous throughout. So I think that's going to be a good amount. We'll put the rest of this in a container. But this is going to be our breakfast and lunch. Not today. Breakfast and another meal tomorrow probably.